Hi, my name is Zachary Veith, and I'm a historic interpreter here at Staatsburgh State Historic Site.
I am Maria Reynolds, the curator at Staatsburgh State Historic Site.
My name is Frank Pidala. I am a historic interpreter here at the Staatsburgh State Historic Site.
I've always had a passion for history. In college, I was on course to become a professor when I took an internship at the local Livingston County Museum in upstate New York, and that changed everything. I fell in love with historic objects and the stories that they can tell to the wider public. I've been working with museum collections around the world ever since.
I've been working for New York State Parks a little over 6 years now. I discovered my passion for history in high school, but I didn't know what I wanted to do as a career. While attending college, I got involved in the museum field by volunteering at various historical societies and working at other museums throughout the Hudson Valley. In 2014, I was working at another New York State site in Kingston, New York, when I saw the position here was available. So, I applied, and the rest is history.
I always had an interest in history, but I knew that I didn't want to be a teacher. I visited many historic sites and museums on family vacations, and so I always felt drawn to that field. I got an undergraduate degree in history, and then I decided to go to graduate school, where I entered a public history program and received a master's degree and a PhD. Studying public history includes courses about museums, archives, oral history, and historic preservation, all of the ways we present history to the public. You certainly don't need a PhD for my current position, but there are some positions in the field that require it, so it does give me options for the future. In addition to my education, I spent time working in archives, facilitating an oral history project in Chicago, and I worked as a historic interpreter at a historic camp in the Adirondacks before I ended up here at Staatsburgh.
Historic interpretation means that I research, write, and deliver historic content to the public in a variety of forms. So a solid understanding of over 200 years of history is key to this position. And this comes from research, reading through books and articles about the Gilded Age time period, finding primary source documents to discover more about a particular artifact in our collection, and even reading through newspapers to discover interesting stories from over 100 years ago. Everyone here has strong research skills to develop their understanding of the past and piece together narratives. This research is then translated into blog essays, tours, public lectures, so writing and overall communication is an important skill to have here. Tours and events are a big part of what we do, so of course you have to be comfortable speaking in front of people, whether I'm walking backwards on a house tour or delivering a lecture to a group of visitors.
As the curator for the site, I am tasked with overseeing the collections. That is, all of the historic objects, furniture, paintings, etc. in the house. My job is to protect the collections, but also to maintain records on their care and what we know about their history, as well as providing the public access, both in person and also online. I work with the site's social media, write essays for the site's blog, develop public talks, and consistently research the history of the era and the site. It is important to have research skills and also be able to write in a clear and concise manner. An average day usually involves a lot of emails, but besides that, I always have multiple projects that I'm working on or researching. If there's a public program, I may be involved with that, or I may spend time with the historic collections in the house. More recently, as we have been closed for the health crisis, I've been creating videos highlighting collections and research that I have done on the staff who worked at the site in past centuries when it was still a private home. I also created a photographic scavenger hunt program that helps visitors enjoy and learn about the estate grounds.
An average day for me might include conducting tours, special programs, and events both inside the museum and outside on the grounds. Seasonally, I organize and oversee the volunteers for public programs. I also conduct research on the museum's collections, the local village, the family who lived here, and the servants who lived here. More recently, I've been photographing the museum collections and have been filming as well as editing video content for our online audiences.
I feel so thankful to have a job that I love. Well, I love getting up close and personal with the amazing historic collections at the site, and I love being able to see the public enjoying programs that I worked hard to create. I have to say that my absolute favorite part of this work is the discoveries. Whether it be finding a small tidbit in a historic newspaper article or hearing from a descendant who has a previously unseen family portrait, I get so excited by making new connections and the discoveries, both big and small.
The hardest part of my job is trying to condense over 200 years of history into a 1-hour house tour. But seriously, the biggest challenge is trying to engage all of our audiences. Not everyone is familiar with Gilded Age history. So as a tour guide, I want to find out what piques the visitors' interests. The people who tour our site might not remember everything we have to say, but they will never forget the experience they had here. So the best way that I connect with those people is by telling them stories that are both educational and entertaining at the same time.
My long-term career goals are something in the realm of curator or collections managers. Titles can vary between institutions, but ideally any job with greater responsibilities for research and exhibitions. A job that allows me to better care for and interpret museum collections, to tell greater stories to a wider audience. I see my position here at Staatsburgh as an entry-level position to gain further experience working with both the public and collections as I move up the ladder. And perhaps a PhD is even in my future, which remains to be seen. To find a career that you love, first, do your research. What can you see yourself doing every day? Is there a career out there that aligns with that? I thought I wanted to be a history professor until I explored my interest in museums more and went down that path. Then, get involved. There's always groups looking for help, so just ask. And try everything. Even a bad internship or volunteer role can tell you what you don't want to do for the rest of your life.
An interview for an internship or job can be very nerve-wracking, but try to be yourself. Employers don't just look at your qualifications, they also take into consideration your demeanor and how you would fit into their workplace. Don't sell yourself short, and don't be afraid to mention what you are good at, but don't oversell, at least not too much. It is okay to say that you don't have certain experiences or skills, but that you have a willingness to learn. Most people who go into this profession, museums and historic sites, do so because they love it and not to make a lot of money. You have to be willing to get experience doing internships and perhaps positions that aren't your first choice. When I started at Staatsburgh, I was hired to work in the gift shop. In this year, 2021, museums have been hard hit by COVID, but there are consistently positions on job boards, so there are positions and possibilities that do exist.